Hello. Welcome to a new week. I figure if I gotta find something else to say at the beginning of these videos than welcome to a new week. Because it's never a new week. It's never like the Monday after the video. It's always later in the week. Currently Thursday. So anyway, presented the horse to the customer, the lady, the trainer, and she absolutely loved it, which is awesome. She just had the same problem with it that I did. I had many problems with it, but the major problem was the legs and the body not being low enough to really represent what she was going for, and I agreed with her 100%. But she loves it nonetheless. She's taking it. It's fine. But she did ask if I would make the dust cloud. And so that's what we have here. All day today I've been running back and forth because she's here today. So I've been running back and forth as I built this thing. And it just looks like a jarbled mess of shoes, which is kind of what we were going for. And this, I built it just so it would, because she only wants to, she's going to use this as something to bring to her horse shows. And she's going to put her banner behind it and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was really, really cool. So I built this like this. So the one side that is going to be behind everything is doesn't have very much going on. And the reasoning for that is so that they could just slide in under the hind legs, under the belly and around the hind legs. And so this is the side that's showing. I'll try to take a picture of it when it's all set up so we can show you here. And it's exactly like I just went I put like 2 or 3 shoes on. I'd run back, test fit it and that kind of, because I didn't want to carry it all the way back here. And I'm glad that I didn't, because every time I went there, she had a different idea or what I could do, where I could put something. So it really worked out well. And I just finished just throwing a bunch more welds on it because she's afraid she might drop it and it might break or something like that. But it shouldn't be a problem with one of these kind of guys. But yeah, we left the shoes dirty. We didn't clean them. I didn't brush them. The welds, I'm not brushing or anything. We're just leaving it dirty. And she likes it dirty because the rest of the sculpture is not. It will rust over time, but this will be more so. It will all be at different times. So, which is pretty awesome. So that's that guy done. And I didn't film any of it just because I was running back and forth so much that it would have just been kind of a hassle. And then the barn manager here asked if I could fix something for her after I gave the horse out. She's like, oh, I might have a welding job. I'm like, okay. And so she has a saddle rack in her tack room, and it's a full wall. It's probably about the size of the good enough sign, if not the size of the whole tool wall, all of the pegboard and stuff. And it's got 8 to 10 saddle holders that are just angle iron with a hook welded to the back that fits this exact bar, which I figured out where it came from. It's from her saddle rack. And so it slides in there like that. And I've already done this one. So what had happened was the guy that had built it, it's a really cool idea. The guy that had built it, the welds have split here and here. And I think they split because he grinded it too much. Because he grinded the welds flat everywhere. So I still might do a bead of weld on the top. Just grind it out a little bit and then put another bead of weld there so it has a little bit more to grab onto. But we're going to test this one. And so yeah, it's split here. So all of them are going are beginning to lean down because saddles are pretty heavy. And so what she asked is if I could find a way to fix it. And then she suggested that maybe we put a brace in it. And I thought that was a great idea. It's obviously a wonderful idea. Now this brace is only just tacked on, just barely, while I go and test it. But I figured I'd show you guys first. She's got about 8 or 9 more of these to do. But I want to make sure one works exactly the way we want it to first. So I just cut a rasp at 45 degrees, and I lined it up with this guy, and then I just put another piece of rasp on the top so we don't ding up the wall. And I think that's going to be pretty good. I think that's going to work, but I have to go and test it and make sure that it's far enough back so it's not sitting up or sitting too far down or any of that. Like, I don't want as much pressure on this joint as originally there was. And so I'm going to run and go and test fit this guy now, and then drop off the dirt cloud, and from there I'm going to spend time. The welding project, the saddle rack project is just a over time project. So I'll do maybe one or two every couple of days or something like that. I'm not going to try to do them all today because there is a project I really want to do this week. I haven't mapped it out in my head yet. I know what it is, but when we come back, hopefully I have some things laid out that we can talk about and figure out how we're going to make this next project. It's going to involve some wood, some of our woodworking tools. So we might have to pull out the planer and the jointer for this next project. It is a horseshoe welding project, but I want some wood in it as well. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So we'll be back when I have figured that out. All right. All right. Hello. We're back. So when we were doing the brackets for the saddle stand, there's 2 rows that have 4 stands on each. And the top row has its bar that it hooks onto, almost flush up against the wall. It has another bar underneath it here, and then it's up against the wall. So there's just a gap the size of the bar, which is awesome. So then the one I made would fit there just fine. However, the bottom one has a 1-inch, a 1x6 board, a 1-inch board spanning across it. So then it comes off the wall by an extra inch, and I didn't account for that when we were fixing the first one. And so I've since grabbed one of the top ones, and I have to still fix the welds on it. I've pounded it back straight. And then I'm going to do this one the same way I did this one originally. But I had to bring this one back into the shop. It's still just tacked together. And I don't know if how well you can tell, but it's coming out an extra inch now because I had to move it back. And so I just used a spacer before I put my square down of a 1-inch little board. And it seems to work. So I'll be able to work on those the rest of this week. Just maybe 1 or 2 a day. And yeah, I used a rasp. Sorry. Yeah, I used a rasp. And then I used the end of the rasp that I cut off to make the wall stop, which I thought was pretty cool. And I think I'm going to re-weld the top here because the guy that built it, like I said, he just grinded the welds down so much that it's the reason why they split. And so I'm not going to grind my welds down. I'm going to put another bead on this side too because I'm afraid it might split there too. So I'll put a little bit of a grind in there and then fill it up. And that'll go. But either way, let's talk about the board that I pulled out and the shoes on the workbench. I want to make a table. I want to make a skinny hallway table. My goal was to originally make it 4 feet by 36 inches, so 48 inches long. I don't think I'm going to get there because I want to use the reclaimed paddock boards that we've been having sitting in the shop for almost a year now. So that's what this guy is. It's obviously pretty chewed up. It's been pulled off the board. It looks pretty cool. And so I want to try to save as much of that as possible. However, I wanted to make it 4 feet long, but I don't really have options to keep everything 4 foot. So I don't know if we're going to use this board in particular. I have some more set aside over here. But this is basically the idea of what I want to use. I might use this one for a photo frame that I have an idea for. But we have this guy here too. It's pretty chewed up. It's got a broken end to it, so we have to cut that off. And then I figured out a nice back piece. We have this guy. This guy's not chewed up as much, but he's still kind of, he's not on, right? But the problem is I have this big crack that runs down the back of it that I think I want to cut off. But unfortunately, I've already cut the end off because it was splitting, and I was trying to get the screws out, and it started splitting more. Just turned into a whole situation. So I want to use this as the back of the table. This guy is the front of the table, and then I have this fairly beat up but not bad looking 2x6 that I think I might use for the middle piece. So we're going to have to straighten the edges, and then we're going to have to get it all put together. This one has a knot, or the circle part here, that runs pretty deep, and so unfortunately we're not going to be able to make it by 48 inches long if we use these pieces. I debated putting a chewed piece on both sides of the table, but you're generally going to put this up against a wall. So I was going to put this lesser chewed piece up against the wall, and then the more chewed piece at the front of the table, and then something in between, that piece in between, so then you can actually put stuff on the table. So anyway, so this board got shorter, and it's still going to get a little bit shorter still because I have to do the ends, but so that gives us about 38 inches instead of the 48 that we wanted to go with. So it's 10 inches shorter, but I think it still looked pretty good. And that's what I kind of hope to get accomplished with this project. I think a smaller hallway table has its uses too. It doesn't have to be 4 feet long. It's got to fit wherever you want to put it. So yeah, I think it's okay. So I've laid out some shoes as well, and these are going to be the legs of the table. Now I've gotten these on the ends here don't really matter at the moment. I was just trying to see. So I have these sets of shoes. I have 3 shoes, then a heart bar shoe, or a bar shoe, and then 2 more shoes. And so these would be the bottom, and these would be the top. So then the heart bar shoe is sitting up like this on the leg, which is nice. And I aligned them in a way that when we weld them together, I won't have to really weld anything on the front of the shoes. It's all going to be on the back, which will be nice. And then they reach about 30.5 inches. So we're going to need another 6-ish inches, 5.5 inches to complete. And I'm probably going to try to get that out of the bottom shoes. We'll talk about that in a second. I pulled out these shoes, which are pretty cool looking. They're really big hind shoes. I'm pretty sure they come from a horse named Mowgli, but I'm not absolutely sure, but I'm pretty sure, which is pretty awesome. And to one of our friends' horses that we do all the time. And what I want to do with these guys is I want to put them at a 90 degree, or whatever it turns out to be. I'm going to cut the clips off of these guys. These other ones are going to keep their clips on. And I'm not adjusting the shoes. I'm just going to brush them heat them up, make sure they're all pretty flat, so then they weld together nicely. But I'm not going to adjust their width at all because they're pretty much identical right now, which is awesome. And so yeah, I'm going to put this at a 90-degree angle on the top, and then we're going to use these guys to secure underneath the table, which would be pretty good. And then as far as the legs are concerned, I have the vision of them like having the legs angle out, but in two directions. I don't know how to visualize that for you. Let's say that this is the bottom shoe. Then we have a shoe come out this way, which will be hard because the weld won't have a lot of surface area to hold. And then another one comes out this way. But I think we're going to have to do a couple because we're going to want a little bit of angle and then no angle to get it to sit the way we want it to. That's just an idea. The legs are probably going to be the last thing we build, and we're going to start with the top so we can get that, because we're going to have to, I'm going to potentially glue some of the cracks, and we're going to sand it and blah, blah, blah. And I think we're going to stain it because all three boards are different colors. So I might sand it down and then we'll stain it, try to get a uniform color going on. So we have to do all that, so while we let it dry, then we can start working on this stuff. The legs, this part of the legs are going to go well. The bottom, like the feet, are going to be quite a challenge, I think. But I'm not going to shy away from that. So I've cleaned up the boards. I've taken all of the broken screws, nails. There was staples in one of them everywhere. And so I went through it pretty well to clean them up from the hardware that was in them. And so I want to make sure that we're not, when we're cutting them to size and stuff, I'm not hitting anything I don't want to be hitting. So yeah, I think what I want to start here with now is just, is just getting this cleared off, and we're going to come back. Well, I'll probably leave the camera on, I think, and start prepping the wood, throw some tunes on, and just start seeing if I can prep the wood and see if I can kind of get it to where I want it to be. Okay. So we have got this guy pretty much where we want him. That was a lot. I was just trying to just take some of the glue that's still poking out. Just trying to just get rid of it a little bit because it won't hold the top coat or the stain depending on what we do with this. I think we're going to stain it just because I couldn't get what I wanted out of it with the sanding. I mean, it looks nice like this. I kind of like it, but I want it darker. I debated not sanding it and leaving like just still a lot of this gray in here, and I really liked it, but the middle board had no gray, so just leaving it wasn't an option. And I really did need to sand this area here. I was really worried about it because I didn't want to ruin the look of it by getting rid of all of the character with the sanding, so I really tried to be very careful with it. There's still like some catchy points, but I know if I take them out, it's going to create more, and the more that I meddle with it, then the more it's going to take a different shape, or it's going to look different. It's not going to look chewed. It's going to look broken. It's going to look whatever it turns into. So we're going to leave it like that. I did take a lot of the chew marks though, which is kind of sad. But they were like I said, they were flaky. They weren't like, the last thing I want is somebody to get a splinter on the table I made. So I'm trying my best to carefully, just ever so carefully, get rid of the splinter possibilities. No matter how much I do to this, I still see more issues. So I need to move forward. I need to keep going. For the most part, it's fairly smooth. I do believe that the coatings we're going to put on this are going to take care of a good chunk of the rest of the smoothness. Like when I put the top coat on, I'm going to put it on pretty thick. So I haven't decided which top coat, but I think for the stain, I think we're going to do the lighter. What do we got? That's not it. Hang on, hold on, I'm coming. What do we got there? We got this. No. What was the lightest one I had? That's just almost black. This one. The golden pecan. So then we can kind of keep that look. Or I have a gray. I don't know if I would want to do the gray, but maybe we do the gray. This is a clear stain. Would have been nice. Maybe we actually do the gray. Then we can get that gray color back. But I wonder if we're going to leave the shoes this color, is it just too much gray? That's a question, hey? Is it too much gray? I got a phone call. I'll be right back. All right, where were we? Stain and the color of the shoes. This will be lighter than the shoes, though. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the gray. I really had a vision of like what is this, American walnut color. I really had the vision of that for the top board, but who knows? Now I'm debating. I don't know which one to do. I don't know which one to do. Let's go with the gray. I haven't done very much in the gray. It's still a full can. We only ever did that one photo frame with it, so let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So what we're going to do is grab some of, oh my God, I'm going to build a chair or something for in here. This is where I sit. I have the companion cube with a board across it and a board behind it, and I just, when I'm just chilling in the shop, that's where I sit. I figure I should make a chair at some point in time. Okay, well, I'll pick those up in a sec. Yeah, so for us to get this staining done, I've brushed it already. I've pretty much got it to where I need it to be. There's still stuff coming off of it everywhere. 'Tis the nature of being in here, I think. Just constantly having to brush everything off before I do anything with it. But yeah, I've pretty much got it everywhere I wanted to. There is some larger cracks that I was thinking about filling with glue, and then I decided not to because I want to keep the cracks. I mean, I could fill it with glue and then just dig it out of there, but I think I should just leave it as is, and then hopefully somebody doesn't smash on the table and break this whole section off, because that would happen. Because the crack goes, it's here, but it's also on this side, but it's not all the way through. It's weird, but it's a weak spot. So anyway, so set up these painting triangles, and we'll get this thing stained, at least the first coat here. We'll do the bottom first like we always do, and then we'll do the top and the sides, and we'll put it off to the side, and then we'll start looking at getting the legs done. All right, so the stain's on. I'm debating doing a second coat, but I don't think I will. The wood coloring underneath the stain is coming up like just the right amount. I'd pick it up and show you, but we're going to let it dry first. We'll see what it looks like when it's fully dried, or at least in an hour or two. And then from there, we'll keep moving on. So we'll push this guy off to the side. And we'll bring out this whole welding stuff. So I've having an issue trying to design how the feet of the legs are going to look. I don't have a complete process or plan in place yet, and I really need to get on that because I want it done. I want to try to finish this guy up today-ish, but let's grab these guys. So we're going to want this to be as straight as possible. But with it being all these different sizes of shoes, I can't like just put them all against the edge, or else it'll look a little wonky. So we need to try to center them and make it straight. So wish me luck on that. Just rub off some of the oxidization on these shoes. Not all of it. We do like the coloring that some of the oxidization brings. All right. Two nearly identical legs. Looking pretty good. The only problem is to get the table level after, like these are nearly identical, but they're going to be slightly off, right? So yeah, this one here is like 1/8 of an inch higher, a couple of millimeters higher. And so I don't know how exactly I want to, I didn't wipe these off. I don't know how necessarily I'm going to adjust those parts when we're doing the final fit up. Hang on, more dirt. So yeah, but I wanted to get these guys done right away. Just so we have an idea of what we're working with. All right, so I've made a couple of things for the other parts. Let's see about those. So I grabbed a couple of these bigger shoes. These are size 4 deltas, and I figured that in some capacity they could sit. There's lots of oxidization on this guy. Oof. So if we take one of the legs, don't fall over. Okay, just chill out. Okay. So we have one of the legs, and if this is the table, we want the legs to sit like this. So we need feet to come out either side. You know, the biggest problem I have with that is the weld points are going to be very minuscule, so potentially prone to breakage if I don't do a good enough job. So that's one thing I want to be very, very aware of while I'm working. But also trying to get these on here and have it level just seems like quite a tall order for me. But anyway, so I grabbed these and I put some bends into them, into the heels of the shoes. And my thought process is to have them kind of sit like this. And then have the other shoe weld onto them from there. The biggest problem I'm going to have with that is trying to make sure that they're both exactly the way they should be, and if they're the same height and that kind of stuff. I can adjust where this shoe kind of sits on them, but we still need to make sure this guy's straight up and down. So there's just a whole bunch of variables here. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clamp these guys to the table. And then from there, just try to adjust them. I do have an ideal height that they would be in mind, but I think I'm going to ignore that. It was about 4 or 4.5 inches. And the reasoning for that is that would bring our table up closer to the 36-inch mark, which is how high I wanted to make it. But I'm going to ignore that and just hope I get close. If I'm at 35 inches or 34 inches, I'll live. But I think the tabletop is going to cover that distance for me anyway, because I didn't include that into what I was thinking before. She stands. Before we mess around with it too much, I should probably try to strengthen this a lot. Whoa. Moment of truth. Oh. They're like a millimeter off. Like it's so close to being directly in the center. That bubble. I mean, so I could even shave down the one side just a bit if I needed to, before I put the final shoe on. Figuring out if it's level matters the most after the last 2 shoes are on. And I say last 2 shoes, but they're not the last. We still have a whole other part of this build to make. And we're going to figure that out right after this. Because we're going to have to figure out exactly the distance apart we want these legs under the thing. So hopefully it's dry enough for us to kind of mess around with. And then we're going to figure out a crossbar for the bottom. And we're going to just make it out of shoes, because that just makes sense. Just to add to the stability and a little bit of the look. Yeah, I don't want the legs wobbling around underneath the table. So we're going to stabilize them at the bottom. Maybe up a little bit. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, so to figure this out, I think I want to just go as straight 90 degrees as I possibly can. It's got to be this way. So if we can try to make sure that we're as close to 90 degrees as we can here, I can put welds on both sides, which will be fine. Maybe not look fine, but it'll be fine. I want to try to be as centered as possible. And really hoping that I can figure out a way to hold this now, because this is a lot heavier than before. Well, I mean, if it's going to work, it just, okay. If that magnet is just going to be a superstar today, we might as well let it. Well, I am not a welder in any capacity. I'm just an artiste. But I'm pretty happy with this particular weld. There's a little bit of a dent in there and some spatter issues, but that's flux core. But I'm actually not. Welding in a straight line is hella easier. Okay. It's looking pretty good. I said I was going to show you guys this, but if you guys can see, I don't know if that light is good, but you can just see the wood kind of peeking through the stain. I kind of like it. I mean, yeah, that one's down a lot. Like, I have to fix that. This one is almost good enough as is. Yeah, there's a huge gap. Like, I can put my finger in it. But again, this was for us to see how far apart they need to be. We don't want to be too close to the edge. And then hopefully I'll have the bar and the down there done. But I'm afraid if I put the bar down there and get everything straight, then the bottom feet, these bottom feet, some of them are going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to have to try to adjust it while it's all one big piece. So just a little bit of furniture sucks. I'd much rather create like other creations, but I want to get better at it. So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna take a break, and then when we come back, hopefully I got some more of this figured out, and we can get the tabletop finished up. All right. So it's pretty early in the morning right now. I got a hankering to come down into the shop right away. I usually come down here and have my coffee anyway, but usually I just sit on my phone, check out some stuff. But today I just wanted to get this guy done. So it's very rare that I like wake up and immediately want to start doing. So that's a good sign, I think. So we let this guy dry. He's looking pretty good. It's a little haphazardly, but I mean we're using barn like all used items. So I haven't finished brushing these guys just yet. I did fix the one. Well, I didn't fix it, but I tried my best to get the. That's the other one. Tried my best to get the shoes to line up with the board as much as possible. And then I realized I don't need to do that as much as I thought, because I'm going to use the nail holes to screw it in and not the cork holes. And so what I want to do here is find a way to make sure that this doesn't fall over while I drill the pilot holes. Because this one's a little wonky that way. All right. Now I'm wondering if that's taken them off center and stuff a little bit, but we'll find out. Let's just see. Let's see what we got going on, and see how good it is. If it's not great, whatever. We still made a table. Maybe it won't go down to the barn. Maybe it will stay in here. Who knows? Definitely got some wobble. But that was expected. I have an idea on how to make it exactly the way we want it. It's not too bad. I think that's the other way around, though. The front's on your side, so we got to go this way. So, I think that's actually pretty awesome. It's going to have a little bit of a wobble to it, I guess, but that's pretty awesome. It's not too bad. See how bad this is. It's not terrible. Huh. It's not exactly center, but it's not terrible either. So I think my idea is going to be, I'm going to take it to the welding table actually instead of weld it on here, because I think I'm going to clamp the feet down to the table so they're all even, and then weld this on so it holds that shape. And then the only issue we have is when we unscrew these. If these go like this, it might be harder to get them back into place when we're done finishing everything. But that's a future me problem. So now there's two things that can happen here. Well, three things. Three things is we unclamp it, and everything goes according to plan. We sit it on the ground. It's got maybe a tiny bit of a wobble, but that depends on the ground, and that's how you do the thing. We take it off, and the wobble is exactly the same and still there, and that's sucky. And the third thing is that we take it off and my tack welds don't hold and everything just goes. Let's hope that the last one is definitely not the case. And I'll be disheartened. But let's have our reveal happen here. Well, that's a good sign. It didn't move. I mean, the horse sculpture worked out really well with the clamping and welding everything to the clamped areas. So that's why I think it will work. Oh, this one moved a bit. Yeah, there's a wobble there for sure. It moved back. I'm hoping that that's just the welding table at this point in time. No, there's a wobble. It's a pretty big wobble. I think the wobble I can fix with just adjusting that one shoe, though. Unfortunately, that's not going to make it into this week. We're going to call it done for this video, and then I'll just fix it and then put the top coat and stuff on it. Like, that's all that's left is for me to just brush it up. I'm going to obviously get the welds on the bottom of that one bar. All right, so I've got this thing pretty much where we want it now. I've taken out the wobble as much as possible. The floor is a little uneven, but on the melamine board, it was pretty sturdy on the tilty rocking. It still wiggles side to side, but that's just the nature of how we did the legs. I think in the future, I'd probably do a crossbar somehow, if I wanted it to be as stable as possible. But again, this is a skinny little hallway table. I don't know if how I'd have to look it up because I'm not a furniture guy. But I'd have to probably do some research on how to make this a little bit more stable. If you know, let me know. Because I don't have a good idea. I'm wondering if the feet I did is part of the bigger problem. Probably, but I mean they're pretty cool looking. I think all in all, this guy's pretty cool looking. I kind of wish I did a different color of stain now. I like the gray, I do, and I think other people will like it, which is the goal. But for me, I think I envisioned the darker wood color, and I probably should have just gone with what I originally envisioned. But when we were going through the stains and I saw the gray one, I was like, we haven't used that for pretty much anything. We're always using, like, I'm almost out of the American walnut stain and then the Kona stain, the two darker ones. I'm almost out of those. So I don't have, like, you know, I could have used them, but like we really haven't made many things with this stain. So who knows? We'll see what people say. And so basically what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put some top coat on it. I don't have enough of any of these to actually do a full top coat. So I'm going to use obviously the trim clad for the base, and I'll probably just put this clear matte on the top. And then this is just in case. It's all satin. It should all look the same-ish. So I'm not worried about it. It's fine. And then I'll go and pick up some more. I was thinking about going and picking up some more now, but I got some things to take care of. So that's going to be it for this project, which is awesome. I'm glad that we got it done within the one video, which is great, and I'm going to keep trying to do that. But it looks like I might have another commission for another horse because a friend of the person I made it for apparently is going to be contacting me at some point in time about making one for her garden. I don't want to make one try to be as identical as the last one I made, so we'll see if we take that commission or not, but probably will, because why not? That's cool. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll be back next week with a new project. I don't know what that is yet. I'm going to work on that saddle rack and clean up the shop a bit for the next couple of days. And then hopefully I have a nice project to work on for the next video. Thanks.